Good evening and a very warm welcome to your English news package with radio and television Tonga for the hour. Making headlines, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Tourism, Honourable Fikita Moiloa Utoikamanu, were amongst the four other leaders joining the Ocean Conference in Portugal. Public are warned as expired food items are still available at Asian stores despite being illegal. And the Ma'afafine Family Tonga Association hopes to empower the rights of people living with disabilities. We'll have these and more stories later on in the bulletin. Now with the news in details. The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs and Tourism, Fikita Moiloa Utoikamanu, were amongst the four other leaders joining the UN Ocean Conference in Lisbon, Portugal, to deliver the keynote address of themed Fostering International and Regional Cooperation in Support of the Sustainable Development of the Blue Economy in LDCs, LLDCs and SIDS. Utoikamanu's fellow speakers included Tanzania's Vice President, Minister of International Development and the Under Secretary General of the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. However, the selection of Honourable Fikita Moiloa Utoikamanu and her fellow speakers was due to their experience in diplomatic relations and international development. The Joint Task Force from the Ministry of Trade and Food continue to remove expired food items from stores as these products are still on sale and are available for the public. These food items are no longer safe for consumption and it's illegal to remain on the shelves. Food items removed includes food items that were on sale without any labels or description of expiry date, damaged, or the canned food that were already rusty. Most of these items were removed from Asian shops in the central area. The Secretary of Consumer Affairs Unit, Sandra Di Fifita, says they've received a number of complaints from the public about the issue and as such they are checking every store to ensure they fully comply with the Consumer Protection Act and the Food Act. We started working last year and find stores who continue to breach these acts as they've been issued with warnings. Today, some of the owners of the stores are in court for these cases. As we removed the food items from the shelves, we also took complaints from the public about these stores. We also issued complaint files and handed them over to the police so they can continue on with the legal process. It is important that we work together with the public at this stage. We appreciate those who have contacted us about any issue that they faced while at the stores, especially the quality of any food product discovered that it is not safe for consumption. We also have a toll-free number, and any Digicel or UCO number can contact us if they see any problems in stores about food items. The Joint Task Force continues to reach rural areas to inspect all stores and to remove food items that are not safe for consumption or do not meet the requirements needed as stated on the Food Act. The Ma'afafine Family Association is conducting an awareness community support meeting to promote and empower people of Tonga about the rights of people living with disabilities. Maifana Tupola with more.
The program started last October and has not been conducted for 4 months now due to the impacts in the aftermath of the 15th of January devastation and followed by the pandemic. However, today the awareness program is held at the St. Joseph Catholic Church at Maufanga for the Nuku'alofa area. In an interview with Radio Tonga News this morning, one of the trainees, Melemanu Mahakoni, says the training not only aims to expose parents to the rights of children with disabilities, but also an opportunity to teach children with disabilities on an early intervention program. Meanwhile, the director of the Ma'afafine Family Association, Betty Blake, told Radio and Television Tonga News, it is vital for parents to know the rights of people living with disability and for them to learn and access an inclusive community rather than being neglected by the society. Betty Blake added the initiative of the Awareness Community Support Meeting Program is funded by the Government of New Zealand for a 1-year term with hopes that the program would reach the outer islands in the future. The training will continue on to the Eastern District next month.
Tonga Police records an increase in the number of complaints relating to trade where a verbal agreement is made between a seller and a buyer, and where the buyer made payment but the seller failed to deliver on the goods that had been paid for. Waifono Dubola again with the details.
This sort of trading commonly happens with paying for weaving or making of Tongan mats and tapa cloth or exchanging goods. Police then advised the public that it would be best if they buy ready products in which they get hold of the goods at the same time as they pay. Not only that, it is also best to use a very trustworthy person to do the trading for you if you and the seller are not on the same island. At the same time, if you choose to use written agreement, then it is vital to ensure that you have a copy of the agreement, demand receipts for payments, keep receipts from money transfers, and any evidence of relevant transactions to support any case. However, police strictly warn people who may have or wish to have such unethical and deceitful ways for obtaining money to avoid from doing so and abide by the law.
4 high schools on the island of Ha'apai received assistance from Caritas Tonga. The schools were affected from the volcanic eruption earlier this year, and the assistance provided aims to help with the school's operations despite the impacts recorded. Waifono Dubola tells you more.
Speaking to Radio and Television Tonga News this morning, the director of Caritas Tonga, Malia Suliana Falemaka, says the assistance was made possible through Tongan people in Christchurch, New Zealand, especially those who have relatives on the island of Ha'apai. They donated food items following a request from the principal of St. Joseph College that the students need their assistance as they cope with the impacts of the eruption. Falemaka says the request highlighted the need for each student to have at least a healthy breakfast every morning, as most cannot afford breakfast meals from home. Tongan families in New Zealand packed a container filled with rice, flour, cereal, and to name a few. They also provided chairs, texts, computers, and other material for the schools. Meanwhile, Radio and Television Tonga's stringer on the island, Benny Fatafehi, says the principal and teachers of these 4 schools were delighted for this assistance, as it will help with their students' meals during the school and also help their studies. The 4 schools included Tailolo College, Lavinga College, Taufa'ahau and Below Level College, and St. Joseph College. Waifono Dubola for Radio and Television Tonga News.
And the representative from PESA Plus in Tonga, Dr. Alisi Holani, awarded certificates to 21 participants yesterday who successfully completed the first phase of a 2-day workshop hosted by Tonga Tourism Authority. The training was based on customer services for tourism students, funded by PESA Plus Implementing Unit of Samoa. The Tonga Tourism Authority had a conversation with a PESA Plus Implementing Unit in the past weeks for an assistance of training in preparing students and businesses in the tourism sector with more skills getting ready for the time the border opens. It is understood that the tourism sector has been greatly affected since the border closure for more than 2 years now, and many from the tourism sector have left the country for the recognized seasonal employer scheme programs overseas, so Tonga Tourism Authority wanted to train new staff to prepare for the opening of the border. Speaking to Radio and Television Tonga News, the CEO for Tonga Tourism Authority, Viriami Takau, says that Tonga leads in carrying out 3 training programs as an assistance from PESA Plus, and it is not only Tonga that is fortunate in this opportunity.